song called Chunty.
Hi. Oh man, I'm wearing the hat. You know what it is? I forgot the hat line there. You know what this means? This means something. Oh, the hope. Oh my God. Hope for the last 2 years and a bit. Probably 2 or 3 years almost. And here we are. We're in a world now. Let's turn my level down a little bit. We're in a world where this is no longer the dark universe, the dark times. I used to joke a lot about I'll take solace in knowing that there's a alternate version of me in a parallel universe that's enjoying the DC film universe as it was being built within the Snyderverse or Zack Snyder films. You know, we would have been on Justice League 2 already, the Flash movie, Cyborg, Green Lantern film, all that. I'll take solace in knowing that there's a me out there in the multiverse that's enjoying that. But this universe that we're in now, it's pretty fucked up. But we've got a glimmer of hope in my world anyway. A bit of joy has been brought into my days. Let me just flick over to it. Oh, first off, celebratory. Got my Superman coaster with cape on and nice wild turkey can. Picked it up today specifically for a celebratory drink. So let's just crack it. Oh, lovely. Cheers to me and everyone else that was a part of this and that wanted it so much. Oh, that's good shit. I'm going to take another. I don't really drink much these days, but I think this warrants. So let's get right into it. Me and Window. Look at that. Oh boy, look at that. I thought I'd never see it. So I was there live when this went down. Man, I've had a shit week, and this really topped it off as like things aren't too bad. You know, things can get better. So this image, I was there when this happened. I was there when Zack Snyder was doing, if I can find the clip, I should have prepped that earlier, but I'm just going to wing this, so just hang with me. I didn't plan this. I just kind of jumped on here and thought I'd just join in the conversation and celebrating, put my own video out there and, you know, support this thing. So I was there the other night when Zack Snyder was doing a watch-along party where he was in his home cinema and he was playing Man of Steel for us, and he was going to give commentary over the top. He did it recently with Batman vs Superman, but I missed that one. And at the end of that one, he teased. He cut the stream short on purpose. It was a play-up where at the end of the movie, he's like, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool if they'd have made a movie about these guys and when they became a team?" And like, just when he said the word team, he cut the feed. So it was like a massive tease of like, oh, you know, because we all know, those of you who aren't familiar, the Justice League film that came out was not the original intention or the originally intended film. There's a Hollywood Reporter article I'm going to go through. I don't care if you've read it or not. This is my time to enjoy it. If you don't want to know about it, bugger off. You know? But if you want to know and you want to bask in my joy, then stick around. So it'll touch on it in the article, but just a really bare bones explanation of what happened. God, I can barely talk right now. I'm tired, lack of sleep and everything. He was filming Justice League. He was in post-production, right? He was in edit lock mode, which basically means he had a cut of his movie. Obviously, it was all ready for like color grading and final VFX, and you know, soundtrack had to be laid over it. Pretty much like 80% completed. And family tragedy. His daughter committed suicide, unfortunately, so he walked away from the film. But even while he was working on the film, that happened. The tragedy happened like a few months before he left, and he just worked through. So it just shows his character where he just buried himself in his work just to get it done, right? So the team at Warner Brothers at the time, all these people that were against this movie, like in the executive chairs and whatever, with Warner Brothers in particular, nothing to do with Warner Media, and nothing to do with AT&T, who bought out Warner Brothers and created Warner Media and HBO Max and all that kind of stuff. This is all the new blood that's come in, the new executives, the new power, and they're totally behind this. And that's why you see the HBO Max logo on that image there. They've noticed and took note of this release of Snyder Cut campaign that we've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years. As soon as the movie came out, there was a change.org petition going around, and within 3 days of that movie coming out, it already had like 100,000 sign-ups saying release a Snyder Cut. Because nobody liked it. People did like it. I'm not gonna lie. It made over $600 million, but it should have made way more than that. But we all got ripped off. We all got robbed. It was nothing as what was originally intended. I remember being in the film and going into it knowing that this wasn't the movie that I was meant to get, that we were all meant to get, and it felt like it. Like it just felt like there was stuff missing. It didn't have the same like epic ethos that Zack Snyder built with Man of Steel and BVS, and he had his production hands in Suicide Squad, and he did the story treatment for Wonder Woman. So it was all connected, he was fully in it, and he was producing everything. Aquaman as well. He even gave some guidance on that one on the sly without Warner Brothers knowing. So it's him, right? It's his universe that he's built, and I love this take on this world. I love it, and I'm so invested in it. That's why I've been vocal about it on social media, and I don't care if people have blocked me or unfollowed me or just sick of hearing about it. I don't care. Like I wanted this movie so bad, and now here we are, and we got to get it right. That's a really bare bones breakdown of what happened with Justice League, and Joss Whedon came on. He was commissioned by the executives to just kind of finish it, get it to a 2-hour cut, make it like Avengers as best as possible, reshoot what needed. Joss Whedon wrote like 80 pages worth of new stuff. There was about a quarter worth of stuff from Zack Snyder's original cut. He had like a 4-hour assembly cut or whatever. So we missed out on so much. And it's going to be a vastly different movie. So look, you've looked at that long enough. Let's go to flick over to my Twitter just for a moment. So you can see here, straight up, AT&T, they own Warner Media, Warner Brothers, and HBO Max now. They bought them out late last year or something like that. I can't remember specific dates, but you can see they're behind it, man. They're promoting it. You asked, we answered. Now let's celebrate this moment and get released. Snyder's Cut trending, and it has been trending. It's a movie that doesn't exist, and it's been trending bigger than every other movie. Every other movie that's come out since then, even bigger than none of the Marvel movies have been trending like this. And this has been trending for a movie that hasn't come out, that nobody's seen. So you can see all the big ones. CNN are reporting it. This is all live as it happened. Rolling Stone, even Warner Brothers are putting it out. Like I could scroll here for ages. This is in my likes feed. All the even Greg Miller. Like I feel his pain. He's been on the he's in a group with Kind of Funny who they hate all these DC movies, and they're all Marvel over there, and he's like the only DC guy that's been waving the flag, and he's all about it. Lots of people in my mentions hating on the release of Snyder Cut victory. I wish I could hear you, but we're just too busy being happy over here. Exactly. Exactly. It's even the Wonder Woman accounts putting out like the individual photos. Like they're all doing this. They're all doing it. It's like a combined assault on everyone. It's great. Like this guy here is throwing a fit. This guy here is so against it. It's not funny. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but it's just so embarrassing. This might come through.
Versions of them. You can have multiple versions of all of those characters.
What are you doing to us? What? Multiple versions? What is this? Your universe sounds trash, Andy.
Versions
He hates it.
Versions of all of those characters, dude.
Such a whining bastard. I can't stand that guy. I don't understand how he's had as many subscribers as he has. So even Rob Liefeld, he's a infamous or famous artist. Used to work at DC and all that, and he was one of the guys that broke off and founded Image Comics, created Deadpool and stuff, and he's been a big proponent behind this movement. He's been a supporter of it, and so even like WB Shop UK, even every kind of Warner Brothers account connected to this thing is just like en masse, just smacking it down. So even Zack Snyder shared it. It's real. Hollywood Reporter, have a look at that. This is one thing I wanted to touch on. This guy, John Manganiello, I don't know how to say his name properly, but he was Deathstroke. You see him in the end credits. That was supposed to be a longer sequence where he helps break Lex Luthor out of prison, and this alludes here. It's like Deathstroke's swords, a bat, and death or fight or combat or Deathstroke, I guess. So that's a bit cryptic there. He was supposed to have a movie with Ben Affleck where he was the main villain playing Deathstroke. So that was meant to lead in to that. So who knows what's going to come of this, where he's obviously keen to see his original end credit scene as it was meant to be. And I can't wait to see that. That's just so much stuff we didn't get to see. Yeah, this is the moment here.
Saw it come to fruition.
I don't want to go full screen.
It's a shame that we never saw it come to fruition the way Zack intended it to be.
Yeah.
To see them reach their journey to become, the Justice League, the team that they. That
it would have been. It would have been. Listen, and look.
He trolls us a bit
here. I
here.
told you I have it, so it's just a question of we got to find a way to show it someday.
Yes. I'm starting to feel a bit down at this moment.
I reckon you should show it.
There he is.
What's that?
I reckon you should show it.
Cavill.
What, you think I should just show it?
Yeah, I think we should.
I reckon it too.
No disagreement here.
I think that. I mean, I don't have I can't show the movie.
I'm pretty sure you can
right
hear this
now, because it's still a little bit to do. But I mean, there is this. I have this. I don't know if this is helpful. See that?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
That's so good. That's such a good moment. I'm so glad I was there for that. It was surreal. Something that you've wanted for so long. And I was sitting there the whole time going, it was a bit hyped up. Prepared myself to be a bit let down. And the way he was talking about it. And before then, Cavill was going on about it, about how much he loves to play Superman. And he wants to set it right. And, he wants to do more. And he just wishes he could. And, and they were kind of hamming it up a little bit. And I was like, they're going to let us down gently. Because there was rumors flying everywhere before this saying that they're going to make an announcement. Not one way or another. But I was prepared to be like, all right, it's not happening. So for when that happened, I was like, oh man, just chills and all that kind of stuff and just excitement. And yeah, such a good moment. I was glad to be there. Oh, this is nice. For Autumn, for context, that's Zack Snyder's daughter who unfortunately committed suicide during the filming of Justice League and why he walked away, right? So there's a personal investment in this film and having it done, where being a creator and a director and a father, and a husband and all that movie, it represents a time in their life of tragedy and, just being backstabbed by the studio and all that kind of stuff. And just as a creative, not being able to finish your vision and stuff, that's what it all means. Not only all of that, fluff, superhero movie stuff, whatever, but it's for this as well. Just some closure overall, as a whole. Well, that's what this whole thing means. Not only do we get to see an epic movie, but he and his family get some closure on that. So there's a lot of meaning behind it. Like, I won't go too much into it. It's a bit of a sensitive topic. Yeah, look, there they are. That's kind of what we saw when he was watching the movie. And he had all these storyboard art books and stuff that he would hold up, like particular scenes as it was happening. So that was really cool. And that's when Cavill jumped in at the end of it. Far out. And look, this is Danny Garcia, right? That's The Rock's manager, who's also the manager for Henry Cavill. Both of them have been very, very silent for over a year and a bit. So we're all thinking, I didn't expect him to turn up. And that was an epic surprise as well. I was like, oh my God, it's Henry. Like, I'm here watching this live and Zack Snyder's talking about the movie live. And then Henry Cavill pops in and I'm like, holy crap, that's the closest I've ever been to Henry Cavill. You know, that kind of a feeling. Like he's awake in the world at the same time I am, and we're doing the same thing. You know, it sounds stupid, I know, but man, what a moment. Anyway, so there's been a bit of suspicion around the fandom about why hasn't he said anything. Like, Henry Cavill's been very silent, hasn't really been sharing as much like the other actors have. Like, everyone else has been using the release a Snyder Cut hashtag, but him. So I think it might have been like around contract disputes or discussions and dealings and stuff to re-up. So to see him here backing this, and he's now sharing it all out as well, it just seems to be that maybe he's joined on and he's a part of it now. So who knows? Who knows what's to come? But anyway, look, I think that's enough kind of scrolling through like all the noise. There's been so much of it going on. Like, you can just see how excited everybody is. Like, there's a lot of Xbox stuff in here as well, but it's all about Justice League and everything I've gone through and just liked a whole bunch of stuff. This is the article. I know we're about like 20 minutes in, but this is my time to have a bit of fun. Oh. All right. So this says, if you haven't read this, I'm going to read this. So chill out. So this is already a big headline, right? It will be an entirely new thing. Zack Snyder's 20 million plus Justice League cut plans revealed. And I think it's going to be more. I think that's in your reported number. I think he's going to be given more money than that to finish this film. And you'll see why in this article. So HBO Max will debut the project in 2021, possibly in a 4-hour director's cut. I hope that is what it is, or in a 6 TV style chapters. I'm not a big fan of the chapter idea. I really do hope it's the 4 hours. But this, I'll take it, man. After all this time, I'll take whatever we're going to get. Either way, it's a win. As the Helmer gets the game back together with the original post-production crew to score, cut, and finish visual effects. It was very early on a Monday morning in November when director Zack Snyder and his wife, producing partner Deborah Snyder, received a call from their agent. Let's be a bit more precise. It was 7 a.m. But more importantly, it was the day after the second anniversary of the release of Justice League. Yeah. So that was the movie that we saw that wasn't really what it meant to be. The DC superhero movie that Snyder was forced to exit due to a family emergency, which is then substantially reshot and retooled by replacement director Joss Whedon. In the meantime, since its release, something unusual happened. A growing movement of fans, rallied by the hashtag release a Snyder Cut, had called, agitated, petitioned, and bought a Times Square billboard and chartered a plane to fly a banner over Comic-Con for Snyder's version to be released. And on the film's second anniversary, the hashtag had its biggest day ever. Yeah, I think I know what that is. That's when there's a couple worldwide events that were organised by those of us that are in it, and there was people actually organising events where we just smash the hashtag all at the same time on the same day kind of thing, and just got it really, really trending heavily. With even the movie stars Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck adding the voices on Twitter. So yeah, they reshared it and everything as well, as did Momoa. So here the morning after was their agent saying that Toby Emmerich, chairman of Warner Brothers Pictures, was acknowledging the movement, and more importantly, was willing to accede. This is real. People out there want it. Would you guys ever consider doing something? Was what Emmerich was asking, Zack Snyder recalls. The answer to Emmerich's question, a whispered about secret for months, was revealed Wednesday when Snyder confirmed at the end of an online screening of his 2013 movie Man of Steel that his version of Justice League was indeed real. The alcohol is getting to me already. And that it would be coming to HBO Max, the Warner Media digital streaming service, launching May 27th, and is expected to debut in 2021, which is fine. Take all the time you need. It is currently unclear what form Snyder's Justice League will take, whether it will be released as an almost 4 hours director's cut or split into 6 chapters has yet to be decided. Please, 4 hours. But the Snyders are now in the midst of reassembling much of their original post-production crew to score, cut, add new and finish old visual effects. Goddamn. And yes, maybe bring back many of the actors to record additional dialogue. Dope. Also unclear is the cost of the endeavour. One source has pegged the effort in the $20 million range, although another source says that figure could be closer to 30. Just on that, there are like Netflix shows and Disney Plus shows, and like other shows on other streaming services that are like $50 to $100 million per show. So this is like pocket change. This is a pocket change investment. If they're getting a free massive movie out of it that promotes itself, the fans are the advertising for it. It's practically done. Like it's just a bit of money to push it over the line to get it finished. And that's going to be an exclusive thing that you can't see anywhere else but on HBO Max. I mean, when you think about it, that's pretty pocket change for the investment compared to other properties or new shows or new movies that they could get funded that cost way more. Like, I think The Witcher itself, the season 1 was $100 million, like for a whole season, and that's a brand new thing, like brand new on location shooting, and all the actors and blah blah blah, all that stuff. So people are making a big deal about how much that is, but it's really not that much when you think about it. So who knows? This might increase to maybe 50 to really polish it up, depending on how it goes. Anyway, the parties involved had no comment. It will be an entirely new thing, and especially talking to those who have seen the released movie, a new experience apart from that movie, Snyder tells a Hollywood Reporter, noting that to this day, he has not watched the version released to theaters, and I don't blame him at all. Imagine watching a movie that was ripped away from you, torn apart and changed completely, while you still have the knives in your back from the studio executives and still dealing with a family tragedy. You'd have so much emotion, negative emotion attached to that version of that movie. Why would you see it? Like someone taking your vision, your artistic vision, and bastardizing it completely. I don't blame him for not watching it. And I haven't watched it as much as the other movies. Like, I'll admit, I can't watch it. I just, because I know that there was something else that we're meant to get. So I'm not invested in that movie at all. Like, I've watched Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman so many times, and I'm still waiting for the next film, and we're finally going to get it. So, I don't have as much invested as he does, and even I can't watch it. So, that's just a fan. You probably saw 1/4 of what I did, the director notes, basing his judgment on what has been shared with him of Whedon's vision. So, yeah, he hasn't seen it, but he's been hinted at what's actually in there. And I've seen his posts and his replies to people, and he's like, what is that? Like, no, that was not in my version, So there's so much that we saw that just wasn't the original flick. And if you know what I know and what I've seen, you'll totally understand what he means here. And that's huge. Before Emmerich came calling, Snyder says, I always thought it was a thing that in 20 years, maybe someone would do a documentary and I could lend them the footage, little snippets of a cut no one has ever seen. But adds Deborah, his wife and production partner, with the new platform and streaming services, you can have something like this. You can't release something like this theatrically, but you could with a streaming service. It's an opportunity that wasn't there 2 years ago, to be honest. It is a very likely development. And the latest twist for a movie that has, like the Man of Steel himself, seen death and rebirth. Yes. Snyder was in a unique position when he shot Justice League in 2016. Warner Brothers had entrusted its universe of DC characters to one filmmaker, him. Yep, that's kind of what I was just saying. He's had a hand in every movie. Even the ones he didn't direct, he's produced it or given a story treatment for. Or, being an advisor. And he had been building towards a great on-screen team-up. they're not without some bumps in the road. He began with Man of Steel, masterpiece, which grossed 668 million worldwide. Then followed up with Batman vs Superman, the 2016 blockbuster, another masterpiece, particularly the Ultimate Edition. Don't bother with the theatrical version. That polarized fans with its dark take on the iconic titular heroes and took in 873 million. I mean, those are... Look, when you think about it, at the time, 2013, right? Marvel's movies weren't making that much. That Man of Steel made more than any of the Phase 1 Marvel films, right? Not a failure at all. And if it is, then all of those ones should be failures as well. Same goes for Batman vs Superman. Nearly $900 million globally. Not a small deal. That's pretty huge. And again, it's still more than a lot of the other Marvel films were making. Not a failure. So I don't care what anyone says, man. These movies made money. Like, if you count them all up together, like over $4 billion, right? And he's had a massive hand in doing that. So they're not failures. I don't care what anyone says. When people say that nobody likes them, it's like, well, they do. Made a lot of money. In January 2017, Snyder had what he considered his optimal version of Justice League. Almost 4 hours long. Oh my God, I can't wait. Although he knew it was something the studio would not release. Yeah, the people there at the time were just bad eggs. Warner's wanted a cut in a 2-hour range to get more butts in seats more frequently to maximize profits. And he delivered a rough version with an approximate 2-hour, 20-minute runtime. That still wasn't enough. That was the first cut the studio saw. Besides, both sides agreed that there was much work still to be done before the November release, but tragedy struck the Snyders when their daughter, Autumn, committed suicide, or died by suicide. A month and a half later, Snyder officially stepped away and Whedon was brought in. Man, there's a massive story behind that. I won't get into it now, but someone needs to make a documentary about this because there's so much that went on behind the scenes that I wish I could tell you about, but that'll be a whole other video. And there's other videos out there have done it anyway, so go look for it. League opened November 17th to weak reviews and sluggish box office. No shit. Eventually taking in 658 million worldwide. I mean, still not bad, but man, they pumped a lot of movie into that, and the reshoots just inflated the cost of that film even more. And you just have to imagine all the negative press leading up to it with everything that was going on would have affected it. However, and the film itself wasn't really worth going back for much rewatches. However, almost immediately a movement was born. Yep. Fans unhappy with the film created the now infamous hashtag. A Change.org petition for Warner's to release Snyder's version had already garnered over 100,000 signatures less than 5 days after the movie's release. That's what I just mentioned earlier in the video. Forget that the version that fans wanted technically didn't exist. What did exist was a semi-unfinished work with no visual effects, no post-production. One person who'd seen the version described it like a car with no panels, just a drivetrain and some seats. So about that, I know for a fact that the version that he showed to AT&T, Warner Media, and Jim Lee from DC, they're all in the room watching the movie all at once. The version that he showed, it was all black and white, and he's been sharing pictures from this cut for months now, and we're all like, why are all these photos black and white? And it makes sense now because we know that he put a cut together of what he had, showed it to these guys in black and white format because it's more appealing to see that than, the wires and the green screens and the pre-vid stuff, unfinished effects, all in full color and stuff. So it's more appealing to watch it all in black and white so you don't see, or it's not as obvious, it doesn't stand out as much. So you're still kind of watching a film. That's why, that's all. So if you do see any of these black and white photos around, that's the version of the movie that those photos are from. If I had any hand and if I had prepped any on hand, I'd bring them up now and show you, but I'd have to go digging. And it sat on a hard drive, just a drivetrain and some seats, and it sat on a hard drive in the Snyder's house. When we left the movie, I just took the drive of the cut. What? I just took the drive of the cut on it. Oh, there we are. It says Snyder. I honestly never thought it would be anything. In the year following their daughter's death, the Snyders closed circles around their family as they tried to heal from the tragedy. The first year was about the milestones and the holidays, recalls Deborah. Now, it's not those, but other memories, like songs that trigger memories that hit me unexpectedly. As a director, as a family, as a couple, I think we've grown in a way that has made us stronger. We're doing our best. You really can't hope for more. Far out. That's got to suck so much. The duo also became involved in suicide prevention charity work and plotted a return to movies with Army of the Dead. It's coming out on Netflix early next year. Meanwhile, release of Snyder Cut became more organised and visible, gaining mainstream media attention. Snyder fed into the movement by occasionally teasing images from his movie or storyboards on social media, in some ways only stoking the hot embers. That's an understatement. And he saw some of the seeds he planted in his movies, especially in his castings of Godot as Wonder Woman and Momoa as Aquaman, grow into gardens as the spin-offs became pop culture phenomenons and billion-dollar hits. Yep. So it's something to be said, right? He cast these, he purposely chose these people. Gal Gadot, everybody's like, no way she's going to be good. Like, she's barely done anything. She's just been a piece of eye candy in Fast and Furious, but he saw something in her, and here we are. A massive movie hit, and we've got 1984 coming out soon, and everybody loved her in the role as Wonder Woman. And then the same with Momoa. Like, when he first came on the scene in Justice League, or even on his little sneak peek in Batman vs Superman, everybody's like, oh god, he looks awesome. And he was one of the favourites out of that Justice League film, and everybody loved Aquaman. It made over $1 billion. So, that's what I mean. Like, he's been a massive part of this and the success of these films. So that what happened to him shouldn't have happened. That's what I'm saying. It was on the 2-year anniversary, however, that the zenith was reached and the hashtag became a top worldwide trend. Release of Snyder Cut is the most tweeted hashtag about a movie that Warner Brothers ever made. Yeah, but it's a movie that they've never released, says Snyder. That's huge, man. No other movie or studio has that. No one. And that's massive. It's any wonder why they've taken note. It's a weird stat, but it's cool. After the Saturday morning phone call, the Snyders began to move puzzle pieces into place. We had to figure out what it meant to finish and how do you pull it off, recalls Deborah. The couple put together a presentation and, in early February of this year, invited a select group of executives from Warner Brothers, HBO Max and DC. That's kind of just what I just touched on. I'm getting ahead of myself a lot. To their own house in Pasadena to screen Snyder's little scene version that was shown in black and white. Yeah, I've gone way ahead. The number of execs in the room, there were more than a dozen in attendance, ranging from Warner's Emmerich, Carolyn Blackwood and Walter Hamada, to HBO Max's Kevin Riley, Sarah Aubrey and Sandra Dewey, to DC's Jim Lee. Jim Lee, he's a massive supporter, man. And he's a super nice guy from what I see of him online, and just an iconic artist, man. Iconic artist. And now he's the head of DC. He's very, very cool. Showed the importance of the potentially extensive undertaking. Big deal, man, to get every one of these people in the room at once for this one movie. Just to see what all this is about and what they can do with it. Heads of physical production and business affairs over there to assess what needed to be done and how much it would cost. At his presentation after the screening, now this is something, Snyder outlined ideas for not just releasing the cut, but the concept of episodes and cliffhangers. So what does that mean? Like, obviously he's talking in the episodic format, right? So will they have to add on extra scenes if they're doing it in episodic, to tie into the next episode? I can only imagine how much of a ordeal this will be to try and make something that was built to be a film to be seen in one sitting, to then rehash it for an episodic form. I've not seen that before. It'll be quite interesting. The executives left the meeting pumped. The Snyder Cut was real, except then it almost wasn't. Yeah, now we're kind of coming up to present day here with this. The novel coronavirus struck, and Hollywood all but shut down in mid-March. Says Deborah, people thought it won't be possible to ramp up, and that maybe this should go on the back burner. But we said, no, this is the right time, because our visual effects houses that rely on so much are running out of work. So now is the time to be doing this. It also helped that many of those post facilities had held on to the original assets. Like, that's just key, man. If these guys that they've been working with still hold on to the original stuff, that's just going to help. It's not going to hinder at all. Snyder also spent April and this month reaching out to the sizable cast, giving a heads up on the new development and letting them know their services may be needed. The first person called, Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg. He was like, "You're kidding me, right?" recalls the director. And I've seen a video of him online last night, I think, or earlier today, where he was talking on stream about all this, and he got a bit emotional, and he had a bit of a cry, and that was awesome to see, man. Like, this was a huge deal for him. He was like a stage actor for the most part. Like, this was his first big role. Was promised a lot, like his own solo movie and all that kind of stuff, Justice League sequels, and to have it all taken away from him. I can only imagine what he's been feeling in the last couple of years. Like, to have such this massive opportunity kind of ripped from you. Massive. So I guess he might be feeling a bit of relief and vindication or whatever. Outside of, like, he's pretty close to the Snyders as well. So anyway, there is no schedule going forward at this stage for the project, as talks are now beginning with post-production houses, which also gives HBO Max plenty of time to find the best way to present this version of Justice League. Snyder is at the same time in post-production on Army of the Dead, his zombie thriller for Netflix that is also to debut in 2021. It's going to be a good year for him. For the Snyders, the chance to revisit the movie also brings the prospect for closure. They were forced to let go. This movie was the culmination of a hero's journey that all these characters went on, says Deborah. And the idea was always to build them up to be the heroes people expected them to be. So that's been a fact for all throughout these movies. So in media interviews and stuff for Batman v Superman and Justice League, Zack and Deborah have always said, like, the idea was to have it as a multi-arc journey, right? It gets darker before the dawn, which is why that dawn of justice was the tagline on Batman v Superman, leading into Justice League, and it was meant to be Justice League 2, but we'll see what happens after that. So anyway, I'm going to take a sip. Oh, sculled that. That was a big sip. Anyway, and while the cut will contain the many elements Snyder has teased over the years, yes, expect Darkseid. Hell yes. Fuck, that was one of the biggest disappointments. We never got to see him. I can't wait. The duo also relish adding a fair amount of character development. So much was cut. What's so lovely about this is we get to explore these characters in ways that you're not able to in a shorter theatrical version. So much was cut. There's a lot of Diana Prince investigating, like, the old gods and trying to find out who is Darkseid and what is that all about. Cyborg has his whole origin in this film. Aquaman goes back to Atlantis, for stuff to get his armor and all that. You see more of Clark. Just, there's so much left out of it, man. Like, Willem Dafoe's in it as Volko. This is the movie that you're supposed to first see him in, not the Aquaman movie. And he's in it. So much. Anyway, the Snyders know that fan power is what led the Snyder Cut becoming a reality. Clearly, this wouldn't be happening without them, says the director. He also credits Warner's for living up to its old reputation as the filmmaker's studio. Yeah, that's a huge thing to say. That's really good. It's kind of like a big up you to the previous people in power who just stuffed him over, and every other director that came on board to make a DC film. There was like a revolving door of directors for a while there, because they just couldn't get them on board. Well, the directors weren't the problem. It was the executives that were just a constant hindrance. So this is good. As Snyder, this return to that pedigree and to let my singular vision of my movie be realized in this format, in this length, is unprecedented and a brave move. A very, very brave move. Very brave move. So this is awesome news, man. I can't wait for this. I need to get to 2021 immediately. Like if I could, just put life on pause and go to sleep, for another 12 months or however long it's going to be. Oh my God, bring it on. So yeah, look, that's it in a nutshell. What's going to happen from here on, I don't know. But there's been some developments where David Ayer, he's got a similar history. That's a lot like what Zack Snyder experienced as far as the studio meddling. The Suicide Squad movie that we got in cinemas was a rehashed version of his own that was cut together by a trailer house, which explains all the neon colors and the soundtrack, right? That movie is not what he originally intended. All of Jared Leto's scenes were basically cut. There's a relationship that was built between Harley and Deadshot that we didn't see. Like that came together basically. The ending was totally different. Steppenwolf was supposed to be in this one as the main villain. Enchantress was meant to be like the agent of Darkseid, building a portal and an army like of parademons and stuff before he arrives. All that stuff was cut, man. All of that was removed. So he's been on the campaign as well. And if I can find it, I did like a few of his moments where AT&T kind of reached out to him. So he's doing some stuff for Warner Brothers already, right? So here we are. One thing at a time. This guy has retweeted David Ayer. David Ayer basically wanting to be part of this, and he wishes that he could do his cut, right? So someone goes, I sure hope so. Personally had fun with Trailer Park's Suicide Squad, but goddamn, released the Ayer cut. And he's like, I wish. So AT&T comment to another guy saying one thing at a time. AT&T are the guys that went right over the head of Warner Brothers and said, let's fucking do this. Let's do this Justice League. So they're obviously aware of this as well, by the looks. Are we going to get the Ayer cut? This is huge. We're excited for the Snyder Cut, but one battle at a time. See, other people are asking for it. So whoever's in control of the AT&T social media knows what's up. And look, here's another special thing. People are flying a plane message over the top of Warner Brothers saying thank you to release a Snyder Cut. Just massive. What a massive day. See, look, this is it here.
Shout out to the support. Yeah, shout out to all you guys. Shout out to the support, especially the support that you've given the Snyders for Autumn and for their family. I know they appreciate it beyond. Oh man, here we go. All right. Oh man,
He's gone.
It means a lot. Y'all gotta give me a second.
Poor fella. He does come back. This will be a big day for him and his friends, the Snyders.
All right, we back. It means the world, I know, to the Snyders. It's meant the world to me. Thank you. Ooh. Ooh, you already know.
Good on him. So even Zack Snyder's seeing it, man. Like, this is awesome. You know, what world are we living in? So this is what we've done it before, right? Wish it had a date on it, but this was like last year sometime, where a plane was flying over the head of Warner Brothers for the release of Snyder Cut. You know, this is part of everybody like putting up banners and billboards and, you know, Times Square videos and, you know, raising money for suicide prevention, you know, just getting the word out there and just like showing them that we fucking want this, you know. You don't see this, man. This is unprecedented, like Zack himself said. So even Ben Affleck's come out sharing this noise. Look at this. I mean, that's huge. On Facebook, even changed his Facebook cover to this image. So he's well behind it. Well behind it. There is a Ben Affleck video on here somewhere. Area.
Sorry I couldn't make it. I just want to say I'm sorry I couldn't make it on there live, but I'm very excited that Zack's getting a chance to finally see his vision realized. I think it's a great thing. I'm really excited for the fans to get to see it, and I want to say thank you to the fans because it was their enthusiasm and their passion that made it happen. Without fan support, I don't think it ever would have happened. And I love Zack, and I love his version of the movie, and I look forward to everyone getting a chance to see it. I just want to say,
very cool. Is and that's his lady, by the way. His new lady. I was just saying, he looks like 15 years younger. So he's lost a bit of weight. He's dropped the booze a bit. He's got himself a new lady. I mean, look at that. Why wouldn't you be happy? Like, he just looks immensely more happier. You know. So this kind of brings us to, where we are today. Back on this. So, that's it. I think you're caught up on what the goings on have been and what this means. We'll go back to me, my face, my stupid face. And what does this mean going forward, right? Like, there are rumors going around that there'll be an announcement for Henry Cavill and what his next step is in this movie universe. Like, is he recontracting up for another Man of Steel or what? Like, other appearances, or are they going to do another Justice League? Like, who knows what this is? Like, I can only imagine that maybe Zack Snyder will have enough, like, after this, where he'll just be like, now that I've done this, I can close the book and just walk away. And who knows? Like, I don't know. And I can only imagine that he just wants to kind of get it done, close that chapter on his life, and just move on. But who knows, he might revisit this movie, cut it together, and Warner and AT&T might love it, and they might go, look, you know, would you think about doing a sequel somehow, you know? But then you got to get everybody back. You know, and Ben Affleck, he said he's not Batman anymore, but I think that was just a move of power because of the way the executives treated him and his Batman script, where he went from being director, executives were pushing back on his script, and it had Deathstroke in it, and it was very strong from what I hear. Apparently it's like one of the best Batman scripts ever. But we're never going to see it, maybe. But who knows, if this all comes together really well, it might just bring them all back. I will say, though, Zack Snyder's original story arc, it was like a 5-arc piece, right? And it had a finite ending as far as Batman goes. That's all I'll say. Batman did have a finite role in this story arc that he was building. I don't want to say anything further in case it spoils it if it does happen. But look, I'm okay. Like, I'll be okay if this Justice League wraps this up. And if we don't see any more from these other actors, I'll be disappointed, but I'm more myself as a fan. Like, they're already doing another Batman movie trilogy, and they're moving on with other DC films. Meanwhile, all the other ones that have come out since are still part of this universe. So I don't know if they'll try and make this as an ending, like a finite ending, and the reboot can happen afterwards. I don't know. how do you have a DC universe in it without Batman and Superman? You can't just have it with Wonder Woman and Aquaman, you know? They're not big enough, unfortunately, even though those are the ones that made billions of dollars on their own. So I don't know what's going to happen. I would love just to see Henry Cavill just to keep making Superman films and be like, let's just forget about the extended stuff. As a Superman fan, I can take that. Yeah, who knows? I'm only surmising. Rumors are that there's an announcement coming for Henry Cavill and his role in these movies coming up. We've still got Black Adam and Shazam 2 coming, where Superman's a big part of Billy Batson's origin, in the comics at least. He looks up to Superman, and it would make sense to have him as a proper cameo role, not just a from the neck down stunt person, you know, in the actual Shazam movie that came out. Black Adam, if you see this animated movie, Shazam something and Black Adam, I can't remember what it is, but basically it's the origin story of Billy Batson, and Black Adam's the villain in it, and Superman is a part of it as like a mentor, and they have like a three-way fight. It's really, really, really cool, and I can see that being a premise of Shazam 2. And then they have to move on that because the kids aren't getting any younger. You know, their voices are already dropping and shit, and they're getting taller. You know, sooner or later they'll be tall enough to be an adult, which is against the whole purpose of Billy Batson's thing, where he's a kid and grows up to an adult as Shazam. So, look, there's all this stuff to think about. I don't know what they're going to do. I wish I did, but I'm happy just to ride this wave. It's been a bit of positivity, at least back in my fan world, my fan life. I feel like a weight is lifted off me, even though I've had nothing to do with it. But just as a fan, I've been like, God, like the last couple of years of wanting this so much and wishing it into existence. You know, like I thought we'd never get here. I thought it was just a fool's errand. But it just goes to show the power of the fans, right? The Sonic the Hedgehog movie, the same thing. The fan outcry for that and made them change the actual character design. Now, I'm not going to say that every movie should be held to the fans' whims and needs. Not at all. I think this is a very unique circumstance. I wouldn't expect this to be the new normal, that's for sure. This issue was the fact that we were on one pathway, and there was a deviation of like, no, we're going to do this other thing now because we don't want this guy to do his vision, to be what's been promoted. Even the trailers had all of his footage in it. None of the stuff that was in the trailers made it into the movie. So it's a unique situation for this kind of stuff to happen. So I don't expect it to be something that'll be a repeat going forward. And I hope it's not going to give toxic fans some false power, you know? Yeah, I don't see it being the new normal, if you have to ask me. So look, I'm just happy this is the new normal for this movie. We're getting back on track. We're going to see it. People are saying, well, what if it ends up being worse? Or what if it still ends up being shit? Look, it can't be worse than what we already got, right? I love Man of Steel. I love Batman v Superman. I enjoyed Suicide Squad for what it is. It still had some of the DNA in there, as did Wonder Woman and the other movies. So if this has that same feel, the same like epic, like mythic kind of just feeling that these movies have, which I'm pretty certain that this will. And the score, like if they get Tom Hochlenberg, I can't pronounce his last name, Junkie XL, who, you know, helped write the Man of Steel theme soundtrack and BVS. He also fully scored Justice League. It was ready to go. So I hope that they get that on there as well, because that'll fit in right well. So there's only positives to look forward to. I have been asked already about, well, what are you going to do if it's crap? Like, what's the point of redoing this if it's just going to be worse? I don't understand that mindset. I really don't. Like, it's just looking for it. It's just asking for it. Like, you're only going to get what you look for, right? Like, if you're looking for something, that's what you're going to find. Well, why not just be like, oh, well, this is cool. This is a new opportunity. This is a new movie. It can't be any worse, right? And that's how I'm looking at it. And I'm pretty damn positive that this is going to be pretty epic stuff, just knowing what he can do. So anyway, well, I need another can of this. I've only had one tonight, and I bought 4 of them. So I'm going to go and do something with this video and upload it. It's going to be very raw. It's my only CHUNTCAST I've done in a while. I put it on the CHUNTCAST banner because I thought this was going to be a long one. So yeah, I'm going to stop here. I hope you enjoyed the chat. I didn't want to make this like too like quick paced and over the top and highly entertaining, because I just wanted this to be me talking about this event and putting my part of the conversation out there, just on the fly as a fan. Didn't want to take it too seriously. So hope you don't mind indulging me. Anyway, I'm going to stop it there. Hopefully you're all well. Hopefully you're all being safe. Hopefully, you're finding solace and some happiness in whatever you're doing, wherever you are, no matter your circumstance. If anything comes out of this story, is that it just means that things do get better, or things can get better. You just have to battle through the tough times. It might seem like the world is against you. You might feel like everybody hates you, but that's not the case. There's always a brighter way to go, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel, all that kind of stuff. There's always something better on the horizon. All these cliche sayings, and I find myself saying this kind of stuff to myself every now and then. So you're not alone in that. So just be well, and we'll see if we can come back and do another CHUNTCAST conversation, and hopefully it won't be too long next time. Anyway, I've enjoyed this, so I'm looking forward to get back to it in future. Toodaloos, and I hope to see some comments or whatever, some new subscribers, and get some more chats happening, and join my socials, and UncleChunt.com and all the plug.
Oh yes, Uncle Chunty.